Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Southview. I am Leslie Huffmaster and today I'm joined by
Terrence Hollis.
And also the
William Chandler.
William Chandler,
Oh, come on.
Just
Anyways,
kidding. Okay, well, we're going to dive right on into our first topic. Scientists are now closer than ever to growing human organs inside of animals. Stanford scientists have successfully created hybrid sheep-human embryos. So if I get this correctly, they're taking and growing like a human heart inside a sheep, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you feel? Anybody who wants to jump in here
I'm for
first?
It's interesting.
You're all for it?
Yeah.
I've never thought about using, animals for that purpose, but
Well, they did pigs for a while until they
Why
realized,
can't we just-
pig stuff doesn't work
Yeah.
with human anatomy.
Why can't we just harvest, make that without having to put it inside of an animal?
Well, it can't function without a living host.
Without a
yeah.
blood flow and stuff like
there are
that?
3D printed, organs right now they're working on.
Yeah.
It's hard as hell to make, though.
Yes.
And it's expensive to
Yes, and mechanical ones too, which are
Yeah.
even more, I guess.
But what about the
make.
animals?
Cyborgs are
Yeah.
coming, man.
Yes, they
Cyborgs
are.
are coming.
What about the effects on the animals? What about them, though?
Well-
do you think they know that they're growing a human brain?
Oh,
or-
okay. So buy grass. Buy grass.
I would argue and say that my dog knows everything. He would know. I'm just kidding.
lover.
Stop.
I don't think that the animals are in any danger per se, because it's just
But how is this any different from doing animal testing on animals?
Because that's testing chemicals and actually harming these poor animals. We're killing the animals humanely to get the organs from them. I mean, it's survival of the fittest if we have the opportunity to use these
we do the
animals.
same thing when we eat certain animals too.
Yeah.
Chicken gizzards and liver and whatnot.
Oh.
Yeah.
You lost
No.
me there.
You chitlins, you get into chitlins.
Oh God, no!
and stuff?
Jesus, no!
I've actually smelt those being cooked before.
God.
Anyway.
So back on subject here. But no. I mean, I think it's
So you
perfectly
think it's
fine.
okay?
Yeah.
I think it's weird.
survival of the fittest. We're the dominant species on this planet.
I'm not going that far. I'm just saying it's for scientific
For
reasons.
scientific
I
reasons.
see
I'm all
the
for it.
survival of the
And
fittest,
it
but I
cuts
go
down-
somewhere else with that. To me, it's we are bred in our DNA to have malfunctions, and I don't
Well,
know. I just
It's only been within the last
Well,
some
I
years that
can't,
we've
I
had.
Some years
can't
that
really
we've
say
come up
that
with all
because
this
sometimes it is
cancer
the
and
chemicals
stuff.
and whatnot we come in contact with on
Yeah.
a daily basis that
Right.
affect that too. So
I don't know.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
It's
Save
fantastic.
everybody,
You
though.
can't save everybody. As someone who's had family on transplant lists, and it's horrible. The wait time is ridiculous. Imagine if we can grow a sheep, or do the sheep heart and do the human embryo sheep heart, and save their lives or save children's lives. God,
I'm all for that.
You know how many people?
even
how
more
many children-
quicker and efficient too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quicker,
I
efficient.
guess I'm all for that. It's as long as animals are not being harmed, because even though are not able to communicate and to speak with us, oh, this hurts, I don't feel good.
Well,
they still have those feelings.
right now
you
it's only
know?
in testing phases because the embryo's not allowed to go past 28 weeks.
Yeah.
Or so.
And
Okay.
I just thought about this too. So when you die, I mean, I've got the thing on my driver's license. They can harvest my organs.
Yeah, the organ donors.
Those organs are kind of worn and used, and
Right.
these new embryonic hearts and organs and livers and whatever, they're probably a lot more effective since they're
Well,
brand
they're
new.
brand new, and they're
Yeah.
like a hybrid, so they'll be more
Exactly.
efficient, last
Exactly.
Yes.
longer.
It could be like
So-
stem cells too. I mean, that's another
well,
way to do it,
that's a
but
whole nother
that's another
territory.
My
yeah,
mom
it
had
is,
a stem
but
cell
It's
transplant.
funny. It's funny. We're okay with embryos, but we're not okay with stem cells.
right.
That's kind of
It's kind of weird.
It's
See, my
amazing.
mom, she had a stem cell transplant,
Oh,
a
did
bone
she?
marrow transplant. She was a leukemia patient, and it changed her. She had red hair like you, pale skin. Her skin tone changed. Her hair color turned to black. Her
Wow.
eyebrows, all of her skin color,
Genetically
everything,
right.
and then yes,
Wow.
completely. I mean, her
that's cool.
That's really interesting.
yeah, so I think that's why people have, because your stem cells is like the very deepest into you, like your
Yeah.
body's makeup,
Right.
the very basic, so
I didn't even
it
think of
can
that.
alter us as people, as individuals. and
Yeah,
stuff.
I guess people are more okay with the embryonic animals because it's not human DNA. I mean,
Right.
stem cells, strictly
Yeah,
human.
that's yeah.
But we're okay with doing it on animals, which I'm all for it.
But wouldn't it be the same thing as,
all the time?
Well, but pig hearts fail. They've got a 6-year shelf life typically before they're like, and even then, it's 30% ratio that they actually meld with the body and work. So it's so much more risk. But if we can just grow it and put it in, it's infinitely better. I'm all for it. It's not the same as putting lipstick on a bunny and watching the bunny's lips deteriorate over time. I mean,
or whatever.
It's totally different. I'm all for this.
Okay.
It's good.
Okay. Yeah. As long as the animals are not hurt in the process.
It is well with my soul.
It is well with my soul. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a real quick break, and we'll be right back after this.
Okay, so we drowned the fire.
Yep.
Stirred it. Drowned it again. And now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this week's edition of Southview. We're going to dive right into our next very compelling, very controversial topic, the Parkland, Florida school massacre shooting. First of all, before we begin, I think it would be just wise of us to take like a moment of silence for those victims before we start talking about them. So. Okay, and our thoughts and hearts and prayers go out to all the victims and their families and all these people that are having to deal with this horrific and tragic situation. What are your thoughts?
Well, let's do a quick summary.
We're going to talk about a summary of everything.
Yeah,
he was a 19-year-old. His last name was
That's not even
what was it? Cruz, sorry.
Yeah.
His last name was Cruz. He killed 17, sent 14 others to the emergency room or to the hospital with injuries, correct? Yeah. Plenty of other students had reported his thoughts, his actions, his attitudes, his activities to officials before this. The FBI had even been called to investigate this guy, but he was still able to legally purchase an AR-15, which is a semi-automatic assault rifle that, in my opinion, and we'll get that to our next segment, should not be allowed on our streets.
Yeah.
And he just showed up one day, walked into this school at Parkland High School, and opened fire and killed 17. What could have been done to prevent this? Any suggestions, ideas?
Well, I'm going to take a cue from Amy. She shared something on Facebook not long after it happened. There's a cycle.
Yes.
Someone gets shot, or there's a school shooting. Next, there's people complaining about it, making it known, short bit of news. Then Facebook people writing insightful stuff. Politicians bicker about it for a little bit, not long. and then it's forgotten, and then we go through the cycle all over
over and
again.
over again. And it seems to be happening like every, 5 to 7 years or
Well,
something?
not even
No.
what, 3 years Sandy Hook?
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought Sandy Hook was a little bit
No,
longer
it's been
than
maybe
that.
4 years, but
It's been about 3 or 4.
3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's happening more and more, not more and more regularly. I'm not going to say more and more regularly,
And
but it's happening
I
still.
also-
It is
I also do the
like
news
common
for
now, which
our
is the sad part.
radio, and I can't report it because I don't have enough time to. But
Yeah.
before this even happened, I noticed every day in the news somewhere in this country, even in this area, that they were finding guns being brought onto school. Do I feel like that's the solution to this? No, because he wasn't even allowed to be at school. Like, he was expelled from that school, and he got on campus with guns and was able to carry out
First
this.
off, it's way too easy for anybody to get a gun, and that's the real problem. It doesn't matter if you're 16, 19, 24, or whatever. It is way too easy for somebody to get a gun.
And then it goes into the debate about teachers. Should they be allowed to carry arms? I know when I was just about to graduate from high school, and Sandy Hook had just happened the year before, and some of my teachers were going through the gun handling process. There are certain rules with it, like they can't wear it on their belts and like look over
Like
student
in
stuff
plain
and
day
here's my
outside.
gun, because that's traumatizing. But
Right.
I'm somewhat for teachers having something, taser or gun training or something. I'm fine with that. And that might be the conservative in me speaking, but I'm fine with it. I'm not fine with them like, here's my piece. My bad, it slammed the desk. But here's my piece, and have it out on display. I don't think
Right.
that's the right
Out
message
on
to
the
be sending.
desk.
I think it's a good message to be sending that the teachers are protecting
Are
the students.
protecting themselves.
And my high school, where I
What's the difference between that and, I guess, resource officers? You know,
I like the idea of
it's-
more
What's the
resource
difference?
officers.
So at St. Paul's, where I went to high school, after that happened, there are 3 cops on campus at all times, heavily armed, primed and ready, and it's at elementary schools now too. It's at middle schools now too. These incredibly safe and private institutions, they're armed guards now.
Yes.
Everywhere.
And there's only so much they can do. I don't like the teachers having the weapons, just for the simple fact that gives the students an opportunity. Like,
Oh, I saw my
you
teacher
know,
have it, therefore.
well, not only that, like, what if they decide to take the weapon away from their teacher and use it on the students and the teacher?
That was the other thing. It has to be locked away. And
Right.
hidden
So
away.
then, if it's locked and hidden away, she's not going to have readily access to it, or he or she
Well,
or
I mean,
whoever.
it's in their desk. I mean, how many times does the teacher leave the room? During the day?
Right. And
a lot.
then there's it's
in
there for
public
the
in public
students.
schools, a lot.
I would
Well,
rather
I have
see.
the more.
And the
Yeah.
problem with
Unfortunate
the
private
resource officers is a lot of these people are ex-military personnel who have, in recent cases, gotten a little bit too physical
Right.
with our students. So there's a problem in and of itself. But the bottom line is that we've got to do something to protect
What
our
the hell do we do?
children.
Yeah.
But what is it? I mean, I do like
Legislation.
What's the legislation
Well,
gonna
I mean,
do?
and how long is it going to take with legislation? Legislation.
Possibly years
You're
because
not
of
going to
how.
be able to eliminate guns.
No.
Oh, no,
off the
I'm not-
streets.
oh, I'm not
like,
saying
okay,
that.
okay. I was hoping
It's
that
more or
you
less
weren't
trying to just hear me out. Ban assault rifles.
That's fine.
Not
Go for it.
all guns.
I don't feel like the public should have access to assault rifles.
This
at
is
all,
my
in
opinion.
my opinion.
As
No
a
one should. To be
conservative.
honest. Yes.
Banana clips? Hell no. No. You don't need that.
Yeah.
And war times, sure. But
that's
not
what our
protecting
military
yourself.
is for.
And you're
Right,
fine with a pistol.
exactly.
A pistol will do the job. Bang, bang, dead, dead.
Yeah, or even
you
just
don't need
injured somebody.
You don't need
Yes.
that. You don't need it.
And you
Well-
definitely don't need that to hunt either.
No.
If you're hunting, you
Good
literally
God.
Well-
get one shot off because
Hunting
the
for
animal
sport.
is going to run.
Yes.
You know? So you get one, you don't need any
I don't
kind of
understand that either. It's
semi-automatic
like,
to
I
hunt.
need one to hunt.
Well,
No, you
well,
don't.
people have been hunting before
On
with
behalf-
other types of
With plenty
hunting
of
rifles.
shotguns.
Right. so-
Buckshots should be outlawed.
on behalf
Buckshots have the potential to kill more than an automatic weapon because when they shoot, when they're
It spreads
shot,
fast,
it
right?
Yeah.
spreads it and can totally tear up a person's internal organs,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I'm all for banning buckshots.
Well, certain types
and
of ammo have
any
already been
kind of
banned
semi
itself.
Or
Yes.
automatically.
Like
Making
I
strides
want to say
slow.
in the Reagan era, there were the banning of armor piercing rounds.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that ended.
That was banned.
Yes.
But they're still on the black market.
Well,
the
yeah.
black
And
market's
then-
always
Was
going to
gonna-
exist. Someone's always
Exactly.
going to be doing something.
And then that's the
illegal.
counter argument for people who are pro-gun is that, well, they're still going to be out there on our streets. So we need to have competitive enough fire to
No,
protect ourselves.
that's not the answer. Answering violence with violence, regulating it is maybe more the solution. But on behalf of me, all conservatives, as soon as this happened, there's no denying it. My fraternity brothers are incredibly conservative. My friends are incredibly conservative. I'm friends with many old people who are incredibly conservative Mobilians. It's this whole slew of things about, they're going to take our guns away. Oh, no, we can't have our guns taken away. And majority of the school shootings are by Democrats. Democrats, look at all of our history of these shootings, all these timelines. It's Democrats with these weapons and yada, yada, yada. And conservative Republicans or conservative liberals, they're saying no. And Congress, I'm talking about politics now. No, it's our our amendment right. It's our
Second.
I'm out of touch, but...
The Second Amendment is there. It's not so that everybody has
private
a gun.
militia, private ready to
That
go.
was the original purpose of it. It was for that purpose.
Without us having the right to bear arms, then we're unprotected against our government. Our government would then have this great control over its people that it does not need to have.
But people need to realize too, this was written back in 1776.
Right.
So this has been.
It can happen again.
And everyone's favorite argument is the whole Hitler thing. When he was taking over Germany, no guns aside from pistols are allowed to be held in the homes, and then look what happened. I mean, that's not going to happen in America. God,
you don't know. I mean,
I am a strong
never.
believer in the system. I believe we will.
Never.
Okay, in my lifetime, I believe never that'll happen.
Okay.
And if I'm wrong, I owe you $20 and
we'll shake on it.
We'll shake on it.
And
If our society ever becomes a Hitarian society, I'm owing Leslie
$20.
$20.
With that, we'll be right back.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to theshelterpetproject.org and meet a few who are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to theshelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Welcome back. Thanks for coming back and joining us on our last segment of this week's edition of Southview. We're going to talk more about the Parkland shooting massacre. I want to also give my hats out to all these students that are now trying to, they're organizing a march in March, I believe, to go and lobby Washington, D.C. for changes.
There have already been many walkouts across the country.
There was the lighting yesterday where it started out 17 Washington, D.C. high schoolers laid down in front of the White House in a moment of silence for 3 minutes, because that's all it took was 3 minutes for that gunman to gun down those 17 plus people. And then more joined. Yeah. But celebrities are even, George Clooney and his wife were the first to do it. They donated $500,000 to the students in Parkland for their trip to D.C. and their efforts. Oprah Winfrey followed suit and matched him with another $500,000. So already between two celebrities, the students have $1 million for their lobbying and their campaign.
I don't want to seem negative at all. I'm a very optimistic and realistic person, but How many times has this happened before? How many times have we rallied? How many times have people been around the White House and protested? People have been protesting for over 2 years, 3 years, every single day.
Since Columbine, that was the first real
changes.
major.
Actually, it was back in 1960s when the first school shooting actually happened. I can't
It
remember
was
the
the
exact
1960s when the first one happened.
I can't remember the exact school.
In recent
Yeah.
history, within like this generation of people, Columbine, it happened like 98, 99.
Yeah, I was a kid, so I don't know too much about that.
I was a young adult. I was of age to where that could have been my friends, you know.
It's just nothing happens,
and it was
though.
horrible.
That's what drives me crazy.
What needs to happen is it's going to take more than just the president or just then
We have to
one
get rid of gun
congressman.
lobbyists, plain and simple. The gun lobbying
We've
groups
got
must be dismantled.
band
That is,
together.
That's
I know it's going to be hard.
That's
but
an extreme, I think.
that's what needs to happen, though, because that's the
It is it. I mean,
Gun lobbyists,
if there's
is
one
people
thing
lobby
I've
in
learned
Washington, D.C. for looser gun laws?
No.
in the last,
No, like looser. I'm sorry,
Right,
looser. Yes.
Yeah, okay, like to loosen
More
the restrictions and stuff on it.
ARs and whatnot.
I'm all
and-
for the mental health check.
Well, let's go into
Well-
that in a second. But my
Yes.
point I want to make to you real quick. There's something I've learned the last year.
Mm-hmm.
There's no black, there's no white, there's a gray. There's always going to be gray. If you think on one side of the polar opposite or the other, that's not healthy.
It's
you
not
need to
realistic
find
either.
some middle. That's what's wrong with our government currently. Republicans refuse to work with Democrats. Democrats refuse to work with Republicans. We got to meet in the middle. We can't outlaw or get rid of the gun lobbyists altogether. We need to find some middle ground, though. I agree. They're extremists. They're extremists in every
The ones I
sector.
mean is more or less the ones who, if you don't, pass this, I'm gonna cut my funding for your campaign. That
Yeah,
kind of
no,
stuff. That's the thing I'm mostly talking
campaign
about.
management is the money behind it's always been awful. Now let's go into what you were talking about with the.
I totally forgot.
Mental health.
The
check.
mental health,
check.
yes, the stricter background
Yes,
check.
I had
and
this
stuff
talk
like
with Miss
that.
Rigsby when I'm doing her whole social and communications course. I was like, well, don't you have to have like there's a 30-day wait period after you do your thing for your gun, and to make sure that you're not going to do anything immediately or what have you, and then you got to do the psychological background check. Only a couple states found
here's
out
the
that do the
thing.
full psychological
Yes.
evaluation,
And
which I
some
think that's
weapons
dumb as
you
hell.
don't even need to have, like if you're just buying a rifle or a shotgun, you don't need a background check.
Those are the guns that you need to have it the most for.
They do the background checks
You need it for all of them,
handguns,
You need it
for everything.
The pistol.
All of them, period.
Anything that can
Yes,
kill a
they
person
should be that
or a
way.
heavily
That's not
injured
how
gun,
it is.
or anyone, I
And
believe.
I
100%.
think
I mean, if I need a
people should-
license, to drive.
to drive and have to take classes.
Because I have to wear
and
glasses
take
in
a
order to drive.
test.
So that's something against me.
This is
Why
kinda
should this
where I'm
person who
going.
has a mental issue be able to buy a gun?
Before you're allowed to even apply for a gun ownership, I feel like you should have to take some sort of class. And it's not just
Classes, I say you should
right,
take
not just
multiple.
one class.
Yes.
It needs to be a full curriculum where not only do you learn how to handle your gun, how to clean a gun safely, how to store the gun. I mean, all of this to where I feel like during this time, for one, if they're just somebody that's wanting to buy a gun and go shoot up a school, they're not going to go through those measures to get a gun. They're going to want to get their gun either legally or illegally. So that'll help weed out. I mean, and then if they are in these classes, then the instructors should be like trained to look for warning signs of people that may be a little obsessive over these weapons and not in it for the right reasons and stuff.
So it goes back to my point. What's the solution? What can we do? And
There's no one right answer.
There's no one right answer.
There's no one right answer.
Politics, we can't get anything done because conservatives don't take away our guns, don't even begin to think about limiting our stuff. Democrats aren't willing to compromise. They want to get rid of them altogether or heavily limit them altogether.
Right.
And we need to find the gray, the middle ground. I know
the common
we've talked about this all the
Yes.
time. We have to find the middle ground.
And I think there is, but it's more or less you have to get the public to actually understand.
And
Public's been on board. Well,
there needs to be stricter
Recently.
guns. There needs to be
Not
definitely
all of them.
Not all of
Because
them.
think about it. There's also, the people with the conspiracy theories going around right now about, oh, these people are child actors. Really? Someone's going to make this up
What
that
has
17
happened
kids
in
and
our society
teachers are going to die.
that
Like,
would make people honestly
Exactly.
think that stuff like this is fake. What has happened? What? I mean, 'cause
it reminds me of
I just don't
the
even.
bar being
How
lowered.
dare people say that? Because that's so disrespectful.
It's disrespectful.
To those
Oh my
people.
God.
To the people that have lost their lives, who have lost their children, their loved
All
ones.
people said the same
It's
thing about
terrible.
Sandy Hook, too. And it's like, these were children.
Yeah, baby. Like,
Right. So
I call those
why would you
babies
think?
too. but
What
those
makes you
were
think somebody
babies.
would?
This
let their
5-year-old's a child actor, by the way.
Right. And their parent allowed them to be susceptible to something like this. Yeah,
Right.
right.
Now,
Okay.
and this is the only ammunition Trump's administration and the conservatives have against this one guy, Hogg, H-O-G-G, former FBI child, hates Trump with a burning passion, and that's all the ammunition they need. Oh, he's a child actor. Oh, he's a grief actor. Bang, bang, bang. Let's decredit this kid like no one's business. And soon, oh,
Well,
wow, he really is.
What made everything worse
Yeah.
was because Donald Trump Jr. Decided to like a tweet of one of those conspiracy theories websites. Or
I love it.
Yeah.
The whole merit for anything nowadays, social media.
Like
If
to
you like
tweet.
something, tweeting something, oh man, that's all you need.
My goodness.
It's awful.
And then again,
because it
what
shows
has
you're
happened?
agreeing with it though.
What has happened?
That's the point. So it's like if you agree with it, it makes
So
you
if
wonder.
you
Why
like
on Twitter?
it, you agree
This
with
is why I
it.
don't
But what
do
is-
Twitter.
Can you thumbs down something?
No. It's
So
all on
the
Facebook.
only way to even acknowledge that like you read it and that that's the thing is to like it. That's why Facebook has changed all their little likes, loves, hates,
Cry face, angry,
I
yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
so that people can express themselves a little more openly.
It's like the emoji.
But they're really, I mean, to look at this in a realistic standpoint, you're not going to be able to get rid of all guns. So even trying to ask for that
No,
is completely
I-
unreasonable and unrealistic.
Regulations.
And I'm not saying you
But
are.
see,
I'm saying
that's the
people in
thing.
general.
People like
It's
to
like
br-
this or this.
People like to bring up Australia all the time, but they don't realize that Australia did have a horrible mass shooting. But at the exact same time, they still have their guns. It's
Yeah.
not like they just got rid of all of them.
Right, altogether. They've just regulated.
Exactly.
Everything needs
Same
to be
thing with
regulated.
Japan. Japan has
Everything
you
needs to be
cannot
regulated.
get ARs and stuff like that.
Well, we could sit here and we could probably talk about this
All day.
Yeah.
all day long
3
and
episodes.
into next week. But we've actually run out of time. But before we go, I wanted to give a quick shout out to some of my colleagues from Due South. We went to a Southeast Journalism Conference this past week, and Due South went from being the nobody to being an award-winning magazine, and we're just really, really proud
Hats
of
off
them.
to Sarah Boone.
Hats off to Sarah Boone and all of the staff at Due South.
Yeah. Thank
Marissa
you.
Mason also won got first place for best photograph. So,
Lexi Naughton got an award for
best writer.
best writer. Yes, yes.
And then everything else
Lexi.
went to Due South. So
Yeah.
this is just, my shameless plug. We're making great strides here within Jack Media. If you would like to become involved, hey, hit us up. We're always looking for new recruits and fresh new talent. So with that being said, we'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.